don't have longevity, if you don't have your health, you are absolutely screwed as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader. Our presentation matters. Our ability to handle stress and keep our immune system cranking is key. And you make your money because you make better decisions. That alone is worth whatever dollar amount you're about to pay. The ROI on health is huge. Welcome to the Get Out of Your Own Way show. My name is Aaron Velke. I'm your host today, and I want to talk to you about health. Now, recently I said something in passing. I was on a coaching call, and I'm with a really, really high-powered client. And something slipped out in coaching. Coaching is like my flow mode that really needs to be explored together, you and I, right here, right now. And that was this. If you're wealthy and you're not healthy, you're not wealthy. Like 2 days ago, I got to sit down in a group of about 50 people with Mark Cuban. And, Mark Cuban is a really interesting guy. We won't go into all of what the meeting was for or why I was there or any of that. But Mark Cuban is, I think he's 65, 66 years old, and he's in pretty good shape. I often associate health and wealth together. And I think you should too. And today we're going to talk about that for a moment. When we build out visions for our clients, well, really, we help them build out the vision. But when we're doing this work on vision, what I've seen over and over and over is that you can take a book, a structure like Vivid Vision, which primarily focuses on business. I'd say 100% entirely focuses on vision. There might be some anecdotes in there to get wider. But when you focus on your business, and maybe you're here now, you're successful, you've got your revenue dialed in, you're growing, you've got a team in place, your product market fit is dialed in, you are in some ways scaling. When you get there, it becomes apparent that the rest of your life does not have the same kind of forward momentum. And the more you do that, and the more you pursue that, the easier it is to get stuck there. That's where we help a lot of people. But here's something that I want to argue for you. You're probably putting health at a lower ranking prioritization number than you should. And I'm going to tell you why that needs to change. I've got 3 reasons for you. And again, to go back to this rather punchy position that I'm holding, if you're wealthy, but you're not healthy, you are not wealthy. We can take that to so many directions. We could talk about guys that are mega, mega wealthy, like Warren Buffett, and health there. But this isn't about that perspective, nor is it about let's get sort of the vanity and the objective of success to be look like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was bodybuilding. That's not really what this is about. However, what we do need to assess really quickly is why health matters and why you should be paying more attention to your health than you currently are. I got 3 things to talk about today, and we're going to go fast so that your day, your morning, your wherever you are, maybe it's your evening time, maybe you're in the car, is pretty dialed in. What I want you to do from this conversation, though, is to make some kind of commitment about your health that you already know you've been avoiding. These are just anecdotes for you to lean back on. I'm also not going to sit here and bore you with science fact. I'm not going to read off statistics. I Googled a whole bunch. I did some research, but I think today I'm going to make the emotional, compelling argument that you've got to take action on the health pillar of your life sooner than later. You need to do something, whether that's getting your levels checked, whether that's hiring a trainer, whether that's joining the gym, whatever it is. It's important that you start, and you start today. So here we go. First and foremost, as an entrepreneur, the health segments of our lives dictates our immune system and dictates our stress response. I remember as an employee, I had maybe like 5 sick days a year. You don't get sick days as an entrepreneur. And if your business is running without you, you can probably take some more time. You can probably get away for a little bit, but it still needs a leader. It still needs an operator. It still needs someone that can motivate and inspire. And if you are in the weeds where you truly can't be away, then your ability to stay clean from disease and from disorder is paramount to your business. I think that what happens over time is we're like, well, I've worked this long and I don't really want to take a break. But when you are handling high volume decision making, we're going to talk about that in a minute. When you're handling team emotions, when you're handling big deals and long hours, you need to be able to be there, be present, again, not sick. You also need to be able to manage your stress. And if you are already stressed about the end of the year in October, if you're already worried about where your numbers land, about how you handle holiday time, then it's really important that you understand the role that health plays in that. I think the hardest part of this journey for me of entrepreneurship, and I'm coming up on 10 years, has been the strange gap between performance and health in some ways, right? Like stress you got to have stress. Like there just is that as a business owner. Otherwise, everybody would do this. So it's really important that you're like pushing. That there's no way around some of this stuff. You just got to push. And people don't get that. I don't think a lot of non-business owners get that. You got to push. There are just days where you got to go to the office and it doesn't matter how you're feeling. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You got to be able to push. And that comes down to this like health side of us where there's stamina. There's something that can take the fire that you have for what you do and leverage it. And if you're constantly stressed and you're constantly worried and you're constantly dialed out, not dialed in, you're dialed out, and you're battling illness, you're in trouble. You're costing yourself days. And in this game, it's a matter of hours that changes your year. I think there's an important link and an important conversation about this. Like, we want to take intentional rest. We don't want to take forced rest. And that's what sickness does, right? That's what stress does. They're like, no, you have to go home. But let's not be naive here. When you take sick days or when you are stressed out, the cost of those days are way bigger than just the day that you're not in the office. It can be weeks. So we have to get really good. We have to get really, really good at caring for our entire system, mentally, emotionally, physically. You also have to be able to navigate the decision-making process of, I need rest and I'm going to take it preemptively versus I'm going to let this play out. But stress can wreck your system. Stress can wreck a whole lot of things in your business. And if you're not able to cope with that, if you're not able to mend that, if you don't have processes in place, just like you have a process in place for a customer complaint, you don't have a process in place for your health, it's time to up-level you. Can't stress that enough because stress will eat you alive. So let's stress the point. Here's the second point. When you're running and operating at a high level, there are a couple things that you've got to be able to do. You've got to make good decisions and you've got to be creative. Those two operations, creativity and decision-making, come from a healthy mind and a healthy body. There is no way to operate at the highest of high levels. Think about really, really successful people. Whoever you go to first in your mind, I want you to think about them. Do you think they invest in their health? We know that athletes do. right? There have been all kinds of recent publications about this. Athletes spending, 6 figures on their health and fitness, not their fitness, their health, their mental health and their recovery over the course of the season, which makes sense, right? They're athletes. But aren't we? Isn't an entrepreneur just a different kind of athlete? We're playing a different game. The game is business, but we're still playing a game. There's still a need for great thinking and creativity. So you might think, well, how does creativity link with health? Well, if creativity is the kind of thinking that breaks your patterns, often creativity will come when you break your structure, when you break your cycle, and when you get out of the location and routine that you're in. But the only way to really get out of those routines, to get out of those structures, is to be intentional and have the energy to do so. Creativity is I think, like a flow state where you're able to like tap into something that you might not have been able to tap into before. But we have to get out. We have to get out of what we know. And what I find is that I often fail to do that when my health is not at its best, because I like don't have the energy to like think and dream out of cycle, out of structure. It takes resources to get there. A lot of mental resources, but a lot of physical resources. So if we're trying to tap into creativity, if we're trying to make good decisions and we're not healthy, I can tell you what this looks like and feels like. I bet you already know it, but I'll tell you what it feels like to me. I get in this place, it's like a tunnel where I can't really decide what I need to do or work on. I can't really solve a problem. Just last night, I was working on a presentation that the only way I could get to the presentation was to go play sports and then come back and now I'm in creative mode, right? Because sports does that to me. Whatever your mode is, I'm sure you already know it. But to make good decisions on a regular day-to-day basis, our health plays a key role in that. And it's important that we get intentional. I bet you that you make $1,000, $10,000, sometimes $100,000 decisions, maybe $1 million decisions. How then do you make sure you make good ones? As much as you might think that it's a logical process, making good decisions is also an emotional process. And we have to have our health dialed in to be able to compete on an emotional landscape. Just like in a creative sense, we have to be emotionally plugged into flow state to be able to think divergently. When our health suffers, decision rates, decision pace, decision quality goes way down, and creativity becomes almost inaccessible. So there might be something that you're already doing to foster that, to foster good decision making and creativity. I'd say that it's a good time to double down on that. Wherever that is, if that's rolling on a jiu-jitsu mat, if that's going to a class for cooking, maybe it's cold plunging and a routine in the morning. Maybe it's reading or being outside or going to a venue. If you're an extrovert like me, maybe it's going to a venue and doing some journaling there. You might not think of those as health investments, but they are big mental health investments. And I find that the more I lean into like, where do I think the best as a health pillar, the more my health shines. Not always possible, not always easy, but it is important. Where does my decision making get best? Where do I get most creative? And thinking of those as health investments really opened up a lot for me. Let's go to number 3 really fast. There's something about walking into a room with someone successful to do a business deal and seeing someone across the table that's healthy. Again, that doesn't mean you're like a bodybuilder, but when you see someone that's healthy, what do you immediately know about them? Well, you know a lot of things. You know that they're disciplined. You know that they take their health serious. You know, they understand presentation. You probably know that they work hard, and you probably know they're committed. those are great signals for any kind of business deal, aren't they? And like this all happens in a millisecond. Despite what people say, we're very judgmental creatures, just as human beings. But presentation matters. If you show up and someone is not presented well, we have an entirely different set of parameters for how we interact. It's that fast split-second judgment. Again, it doesn't mean you have to be a bodybuilder, but when we're in the room with someone that is clearly taking care of their health, don't you immediately make some assumptions? Maybe not. Maybe not. I do. Those assumptions are often that whatever I bring to the table today, whatever conversation we're having today, I am speaking with someone that understands a language. They understand the language of both physicality and presentation. And when someone's on stage, right? When someone's on, like in front of hundreds or speaking in front of, a digital audience of thousands, there's a lot of assumptions being made when someone healthy gets on stage versus someone that isn't healthy. Notwithstanding that, people have significant health, can have really health issues that can't be solved. But if it's a work rate thing, I'm going to be in front of somebody that's healthy. I imagine you do too, right? Like we're in a world where there's a vanity to it in some ways, but there's also this sense of like, I'm concerned about your health. What happens if something goes south? And people don't vocalize that, but they do think it, right? If someone is struggling to get up the stairs, if someone is struggling to wear clothes that make them look successful, there's going to be some doubt in my mind. And look, we're in a world where like now in 2024, it's more likely that someone successful is going to be dressed casually than in, full suits. But that doesn't really matter still, because underneath that is this need, this like hope that the person that you're talking to is healthy and able to deliver. There's like an ability to that, right? And a healthy, abled person is going to be needed. But we make snap judgments on this. We make really snap judgment. Have you ever been in a meeting and you go to meet somebody and you're like, this person is not in shape. This person is not they're not healthy. Does that mean something for this deal? Does that mean something for this opportunity? Right? Would you hire a trainer based on their physicality? Like, of course you would. Well, what other areas of your life does it matter? Probably many. And the unspoken conversation is that this stuff actually dictates whether we say yes or not. It commands something about us, just like it commands something about our capacity. Now, these three things, so you got stress and immune system management, you've got decision-making and creativity, and you've got presentation, are all things that I've seen the benefit of making health a priority. Like the process of making health a priority is not as hard as you might think. It does take work, and I think it does take resources and investment, and it does take time. There's no doubt about that. But we're also playing a long game, right? If we're entrepreneurs, we're not trying to play for the year and then all of a sudden the house of cards for life. We're trying to play for a pretty long time. And this idea of longevity, I think the conversation of longevity is fine. I just think it's misplaced. The goal is not to live for a long time. The goal is to live well for a long time. If you're not healthy, then you're not wealthy. It's the same principle. Where I want you to focus today, just to take 5 minutes and think about what are one or two actions that you can take to make health a bigger priority. When we coach through this really comprehensive vision and we get to the health segment, there's a lot of different pieces that we ask people to dial in. I'm going to share them with you today so that you can also go around and start making a really strong push toward better health. Because even if you just know the categories, you can start to think about like, okay, well, let me journal about this. Let me write this down. Let me make a decision. Now, your job is to make a decision today. I'm going to get a trainer. I'm going to go wardrobe change, get a wardrobe change. I'm going to start eating better, whatever it is. But these categories will help you figure out where to make the decision. So what we have is we have really two breakdowns. We have physical health, and then we have mental and emotional health. That's inside of our global health pillar. And what we do is when we are working with a client, we have them really create a vision of a magnificent write-up that allows them to see what their future looks like in relation to physical and mental and emotional health. By seeing it, we can then start to backtrack and say, let's reverse engineer this. Then the investment begins, then the process starts. So under physical, we have look and feel. How do you look? How do you feel? Overly simple question, but it dictates a lot. How do you look? How do you feel? And whatever health level you are at, what matters is progress, right? But if you outline, here's how I want to look, you have a way to say, I'm making progress or I'm not. If you outline how you feel, you could say, well, do I feel this way or what is needed to feel this way? Is it mental? Is it like you got to work on stretching? Whatever that may be. But take the time for a moment and just think, do you look the way you want to look? Because that may dictate what commitment you make. Second, we look at what's your routine? What's your daily routine? Maybe your morning, your evening. Maybe there's something more that you can outline, but we have to get something underway for a routine. It doesn't need to be complicated. I'm in solo dad mode pretty often, and it can mean that I have very little time to have a routine. It does not need to be long. My like abbreviated routine in the morning is about 8 minutes. I give a cold plunge for 2, dry off for like 30 seconds, and I sit in front of an infrared light. Really, really easy. Third is food. What am I eating? How am I eating? Dial that in. Fourth is activities and play. What are the activities that you're going to be doing on a regular basis? What things are you involved in from a health perspective? Are you doing SoulCycle? Are you on a Peloton? Are you playing soccer? Are you going out with the guys for bike rides? Are you mountain biking on your own? Dial them in. And then last, we have play. Well, that kind of goes in activities. Sorry, we have it. Last, data. What are you tracking? What are you not? Those couple categories will help you with the physical space, just for you to dial in or make a decision. Again, your job today is to make one commitment to your health that you know you've been waiting to do. Here is your nudge to do that. Then on mental and emotional, we have a couple categories here. First is routines. This is different from a physical routine. What are your mental health routines? Is it journaling? Is it reflection? Is it meditation? Is it acupuncture? What is it that is going to help you move that forward? Next, what kind of support will you need? I think of support like therapists, friends, men's groups, maybe in some ways for support. You could also say, you know, I lean on the physical. Like I've been an athlete my whole life, so doing physicality, working out has a big play on my mental health. But there's something there for you, I'm sure. Next is learning. Where are you learning? Where are you growing? And then last is stress and chaos. I know that's a lot of categories, but when we dial in visions, we want enough complexity to really round out a vision. Those are prompts for clients. We dial in like, okay, here's what my routines look like. Here's what my support looks like. And in both of those areas, the effect and the impact of prioritizing health is massive. We see people that have less than successful prior programming finally dial it in. We see people that have good programming finally level up. And we see people that are really dialed in, but almost too dialed, like they're too prioritized the work, finally let go a little bit and invest in their health. I think that health has been one of the single most separating factors for me. I've been almost in the same shape since I was 17 years old, playing soccer, trying to play in college. And that means I can still run a 6-minute mile. I can still compete. I can still throw down some weights. I can still move. I'm still mobile. And I am grateful for that. It also has come at an incredible cost because the cost is consistency. And the hardest thing to do is to be consistent. It's easy to sit and do it today. It is way harder to do it today and today and today and today. But discipline does not matter in the future, nor does it matter in the past. When people say, Aaron, you're so disciplined. Aaron, you're so committed. Aaron, you're so consistent. I'm like, no. Those things don't exist. All I do is choose today. I just choose today more frequently than most other people. And I think that's important for you to hear. But this idea of like, if you're wealthy, but you're not healthy, that you're not wealthy is important, because if you don't have longevity, if you don't have your health, you are absolutely screwed as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader. Our presentation matters. Our ability to handle stress and keep our immune system cranking is key. And you make your money because you make better decisions, because you're more creative. And that alone is worth whatever dollar amount you're about to pay. The ROI on health is huge. And in your mind, I know you're playing some messed up game about like, well, I don't have it right now, or I can't prioritize an hour. That hour is being taken off the clock in the future if you don't take care of it. So it's really important you dial this in. Your job today, if you're listening, is to make one decision about your health, one action item today. Doesn't mean you need to go to the gym for 9 hours. Don't do that. But make a new decision. Make some kind of action from today. Sign up, enroll, purchase, invite a friend. I don't know. I don't know what you need except to make a new choice. And maybe you need some help building out a vision, something compelling that makes you want to move forward. Now, look, as a coach, I got 2 opportunities to help you. One is we paint a vision so bright, especially in the health category, where you are excited to run forward. That's option 1. Option 2, I'll light your chair on fire. You cannot stand still. That's the point of coaching. That's why people enroll in coaching. And today I need you to move. Doesn't matter where the movement comes from. Either, hey, your chair's on fire, it's time to go, or your vision is exciting. I'm willing to bet in this case, because I'm not coaching you one-on-one, we're not going to be able to hit the chair on fire moment. And instead, we're going to focus on what's exciting. Think about an exciting vision of you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then make a choice today to invest in it. I'll see you on the next one. If you love this episode, leave me a comment. Hop into social media. Hit me on Instagram, Aaron Velke. Let me know, or leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that. More Get Out of Your Own Way coming your way soon. Have a fantastic day.